Over the past year, my team and I have helped e-commerce brands generate more than $5 million from email marketing. Not from ads, not from influencers, from emails. And every single dollar of that started from the same place, a pop-up form. But here's the problem. Most brands are running pop-up forms that convert at 2 to 3%, which means 97 out of 100 people who sees it just close it and move on. We had one client sitting at 2.7% open rate, and we made 3 specific changes to their pop-up form, same website, same traffic, same ad spend, and took them to 17%. That's 8 times more email subscribers from the exact same amount of visitors, 8 times more people entering the flows, and 8 times more email revenue without spending another penny on ads. In this video, I'm going to break down the exact types of pop-up forms that brands like Snow, Grant, I Am 8 by Beckham uses to capture customer leads. I'll cover the psychology behind what makes a pop-up form actually work and exactly how to implement it so you can generate more revenue from the traffic you're already getting. So let's get into it. So whenever someone sees a pop-up on a website, they have one of these 3 reactions. They feel annoyed, the pop-up looks scammy, or they just don't get it. Now, every single one of these 3 reactions result in a closed pop-up form, which means a drop in your conversion rate. So the job of a good pop-up is to handle all 3 of these objections before they come up. And that comes down to 3 things. If they're feeling annoyed from the pop-up form, it means that the offer is not excited enough to change their emotions from being annoyed to excited. If it looks scammy, then it's a design issue. The design is not being able to capture the trust that the brand has. And if they don't get what the pop-up form is there for in the first place, it's a total copy issue. Nailing all these 3 things down will skyrocket your conversion through the roof. And missing one of these 3 things would leave subscribers on the table every single day. So let's break down each of them. I've studied some of the top brands to see what their strategy is in terms of getting high conversion rate from their pop-up forms. And what they like to do is use an approach called the quiz funnel approach, where they make customers involved in a micro commitment before asking their email address. Where most brands go for a 10% off in your first order, what they do is they try to engage with their customer base first, building a one-on-one connection. And on top of that, the customers are so used to seeing dropshipping brands using the same 10% of pop-up form across all e-com stores that their brain is now ideally functioned to press on the cross button as soon as the pop-up form pops up. So here you can see brands like I Am 8 by Beckham, Space Goods, Snow, Grants. Brands like this use something called micro commitment, where in the first phase of the pop-up form, they ask you a question. For example, I Am 8 had a scratch card here where when you scratch it, they show you that you've got 35% off and free gifts. You click on claim to go to their second page where they finally ask you for your email address. Followed up by that, they ask you for your SMS, and then finally they get you into your funnel and send you the code. Now, the reason this works so well is because they are getting you to do something which has a very low commitment. Giving away your email compared to this is high commitment and more effort, whereas compared to that, if you give them a more simpler option where they just have to click a button to get an offer, they are more likely to follow through. And once they do, it's just human psychology that they won't stop, because ending something you just started is very hard compared to starting something in the first place. This example here from Space Goods is also a good example where they ask, want up to 20% off your first order, and then you click on yes please, then they ask for your email, SMS, and then they get you into their funnel. Now, a slight variation of that is the survey style pop-up, where at first they hook you with the offer, which is a mystery discount. It's going to be the same 10% off down the line, but when you frame it as mystery discount, it's just something not usual, and the customers would be more likely to get hooked into it because of their curiosity. Now, it's usually a simple question like, where do you usually whiten? At home, on the go, or neither? You click on any one of these, and it takes you to the email page. And then once you submit your email, you're in the funnel. One of my favorite examples of this is from Grants, where they give you an offer and then they ask you why you are shopping for Grants in the first place. Is it gut health, brain health and focus, energy, or comprehensive nutrition? Once you click on any one of these, they take you to the email page where they ask you for your email, your SMS, and then they get you into their funnel, give you your discount code in your email. And this is what the phone version of that looks like. Now I'm going to show you how easy it is to build one of these sleek looking pop-up forms for your brand. But before that, we should understand how the copy of pop-up form actually works. What most brands do wrong is they put the copy more brand-centric than customer-focused. Here's the key distinction I want you to understand. Brand-centric copy asks which products are you interested in. Customer-focused copy asks what is your number one skin concern. One is about you and the other is about them. Customers don't actually care about your product. They care about their problems, their goals, and their results. So every question you have in your quiz, every line of copy should be framed from their perspective. Some more examples of this is, for a fitness brand, it could be like, what's your current goal? Building muscle, losing weight, or staying active? For a coffee brand, it could be like, pick your perfect morning vibe. Or for a health supplement, it could be like, what are you most looking to improve? Energy, digestion, or sleep? So let's get straight into building one. For desktop, the size of the pop-up form would be 1360 by 1850. And for mobile phone, it would be 500 times 600. Let's recreate the snow pop-up form here because it's pretty simple. You click on I on your Mac to get the eyedropper button, and then click on the color you want to copy. Then it just copies the color for you. Then for the image, I'm just gonna take this image from here and place it above the shape that I made. Now for the copy, just using the copy that they already have. For the button box, select the rectangle tool, make a rectangle here, and then you can play with the curvature, the radius, from this button here. So 21 looks fine. Let's change the color and let's just copy the button 4 times or 3 times. Let's paste the copy, and just like that, we've just recreated Snow's pop-up form. Now I could have made a new one from scratch, but that's beside the point. We're here to see how easy it is to make good pop-up forms with just a few fundamentals nailed down. So now I'm going to show you guys how to properly implement the pop-up form into Klaviyo. And bonus, I'm going to show you guys some of the top rated A/B tests you can do on your pop-up form to maximize the conversion and get more people into your funnel. So we're at Klaviyo here with a demo account. You can go to sign up forms, then create form, create blank form, and YouTube, choose form, pop-up, newsletter. What I like to do is I like to have separate pop-up forms for the desktop and the phone version, so it's just more easier to optimize. So I'm going to go to target and behavior and then put devices to desktop only. What this is going to do is this is going to only show in the desktop version. This is going to go to styles. We're going to remove the block here, and then we're going to export the image that we made. So the way you can export it is you click on S on your keyboard for Mac, which brings up the slice tool. Then you slice up the image that you want to export. So I selected this one, then JPEG, export slice, then just drag and drop it here. Then for the text, we're gonna go to add blocks, then text, and then add a text block here. Paste the copy here, do the formatting, copy the color hex code, and paste it in Klaviyo. I'm gonna quickly do this boring stuff here so it does not get annoying. And here you have it. The pop-up form is ready. You just have to replicate the same process for the email opt-in and the success page. Now, a few A/B tests that you can run to maximize conversion is, first of all, what some of the brands does is, since it's the norm to have the cross button to the right of the pop-up form, customers' brain are generally trained to have their thumb over the cross button, which makes it easier to just cut it off. What you can do is have the cross button from your right to your left, which creates a natural barrier where the customers won't just subconsciously close the pop-up form. They'll take a time to read what's actually in your offer. The second thing you can do is in target and behavior, you can play with the time delay here. So what most brands do is they have the pop-up form appear a bit too soon or a bit too late, which changes the conversion of your pop-up form drastically. The number we try to A/B test is around 8 to 12 seconds. We try to see which timing fits perfectly for maximum conversion, and we A/B test all of those timers. I'm gonna close this and have this at 8 seconds for now. And that's about it. Then you publish the pop-up form and wait for it to generate you revenue. Now, the average pop-up submit rate is around 10 to 12%. Sometimes it goes up to 18% in Klaviyo, but that is going to totally depend on how much you A/B test and how much you optimize the pop-up form. Now, if you want us to handle your pop-up form conversion as well as your entire email funnel, book a call right now and we will add another 30 to 100K in your revenue channels from emails. And that's a guarantee